Rain whispered down the sides of the iron gates of Crestwood Academy, sliding like cold fingers across glass and stone inside the massive estate-like building. Students hurried through corridors with books tucked tight to their chests each, avoiding the gaze of one particular man, Professor Calder. His footsteps echoed through the marble hallway like a ticking clock before an execution. He was a legend in the world of mathematics, an enigma, a tyrant, and a genius rolled into one. His mind was a steel trap, his lectures notoriously brutal. He did not suffer fools, or even the competent. He only respected brilliance, and he rarely found it. Today, he was in a foul mood. His most promising doctoral candidate had just butchered a critical topology equation. In Calder's private seminar, the professor had left the class mid-session, disgusted, and now stalked the halls like a storm searching for anything to tear through. He turned into the staff lounge, a room most people avoided when he was nearby. A few junior teachers cleared out the moment they saw him. Only one person remained. A woman stood near the corner, wiping down a wooden table. She was slight, plainly dressed in a beige cardigan and a long skirt, her black hair pulled into a loose braid. Her back was turned, but her posture suggested humility, almost invisibility. Calder snapped. She turned, startled. Sir, her voice was soft, hesitant. Her name tag read, Mira D'Souza, cafeteria staff. I need someone to verify a sequence, Calder said impatiently, waving a folder. It's simple pattern recognition, shouldn't take long. Come, she blinked. I'm just the cleaner. And I'm not interested in conversation. Move, flustered. Mira put down her cloth and followed him down the corridor. Her shoes made no sound against the polished floors. She trailed him past gilded doors and oil paintings of Crestwood's founders, through a corridor rarely visited by non-faculty. They reached a private study lined with leather-bound volumes, chalkboards, scrawled with dense equations, and a large mahogany desk stacked with open notebooks. Calder gestured sharply for her to sit. She hesitated, then perched on the edge of a chair like someone who had wandered into a sacred place by mistake. He slid the problem across the desk. Let's see how far you get before you give up. The page stared back at her. A complex mathematical puzzle involving geometric abstraction and non-Euclidean space. Mira's eyes moved silently across the ink. For Calder. This was partly frustration and partly curiosity. The problem had stumped half his graduate seminar. Watching someone untrained wrestle with it might, at least, be amusing. But Mira didn't touch the pen at first. Her brow furrowed, but not in confusion, rather in concentration. A memory stirred. Whiteboards. University halls in Mumbai. Her professor once told her, "You don't see math the way others do, you hear it." And now she did hear it, the rhythm, the cadence. Patterns formed like musical phrases in her mind. Calder sipped his espresso. 1 minute passed. Then Mira picked up the pen. Her hand moved quickly for someone untrained. Symbols fell into place. Variables danced. Diagrams became minimalist, clean. She didn't just solve, she restructured the problem into elegance. After exactly 4 minutes, she put the pen down and pushed the paper toward him. It's done. Calder raised one eyebrow, more irritated than impressed. That fast? He took the paper and scanned the first line. His brow creased. He read further. Then again, his lips parted. Silence fell like a slab of ice between them. He set the paper down and looked up slowly. This is correct. Mira remained still. I used to study math, she said softly. Before, life changed. Calder didn't speak. His eyes were locked on the page. Not only was the solution accurate, it was elegant. Minimal steps, no wasted movement. Like she saw the solution whole before she ever picked up the pen. This wasn't talent. This was genius. Raw, terrifying genius. What? University? He asked. St. Xavier's. In Mumbai. Why are you here? He gestured vaguely, as if the very idea of her scrubbing tables was more absurd than any mathematical paradox. He'd encountered. My husband died. There were hospital bills. I had a daughter. There was no one else. She smiled, but there was something broken behind it. I came here because they had housing and school tuition for staff children. Crestwood accepts staff children into their program. My daughter starts next year. Calder leaned back, stunned. For the first time in decades, he was at a loss for words. He looked again at the paper, at her name scrawled neatly at the top, Mira D'Souza, a name that meant nothing in academic circles. Yet she'd solved a problem that had stumped some of the brightest minds he'd mentored. He spoke. Slowly. Do you realize what you just did? She shook her head. I just remembered how I used to think. It's been a long time. He rose, began pacing. The solution is beyond the graduate level. It's doctoral work, pure topology, and you're telling me you've been cleaning tables for 4 years? I had to choose between being a mathematician and being a mother, she said, voice barely above a whisper. I chose her. Calder stopped pacing, and no one here knows. No one asks. They see the mop. They don't ask what I studied. Looked at her again, not with condescension, but with a dawning sense of awe. He had humiliated her by bringing her here, expecting failure, and instead, he discovered something unimaginable. The rain had stopped outside. A beam of sunlight broke through the clouds, slanting through the tall windows and catching in Mira's braid like a silver thread. Calder said nothing for a long time. Then, softly, I need to show you something else. Another problem. One no one solved. Mira tilted her head. Right now. He nodded. Right now. And so. The elite professor and the woman who scrubbed his floors sat together in silence, their world quietly shifting around them. The air pulsed with something invisible, but vast like a secret just discovered, or the first tremor of a coming earthquake. Neither of them knew it yet, but that moment would set in motion a chain of events that would shake the academic world to its core. And Mira D'Souza, once invisible, forgotten, was about to become impossible to ignore. Mira D'Souza stood in Professor Calder's study, her hands still, her breath shallow. Outside, the rain had faded to a soft mist, but inside the room, the air was thick charged, fragile, alive with something neither of them could name. You're not just a genius, Calder had just said. His voice wasn't condescending anymore. It carried a quiet awe. You're better than me. She blinked slowly, lips parting. The words hung in the air. Impossible, absurd. Mira had forgotten what it even meant to be noticed, let alone recognized. Her life had shrunk into survival, routine, and resignation. She hadn't expected a compliment from the world again, especially now from the most feared intellect. In Crestwood Academy, I'm not, she began. He cut her off, stepping closer. Don't lie. Not to me. I've spent 30 years decoding minds in academia. I know what it looks like when someone solves a problem by memorization or brute force. You didn't do that. You saw it. You reshaped the logic until it flowed. Mira's gaze dropped to her hands, rough from cleaning agents and long hours. I haven't done math like that in years, but it never left you. His tone was urgent now, eyes boring into hers. It's in you. The kind of intuition you have, it can't be taught, and it can't be wasted. She wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly cold. What are you saying? I'm saying, we need to talk about Geneva. She looked up. What? Calder turned and strode to a side shelf, grabbing a thin black folder. He flipped it open on the desk, revealing a glossy brochure and some official forms. At the top, International Mathematical Initiative, Annual Symposium, Geneva, Switzerland. This is the most exclusive mathematics competition in the world. It's not just for students, it's for pure theorists, mathematicians who redefine the field. I've submitted entries before. I've won once, but this year they're looking for something new, something unexpected. He looked at her intensely. I want you to enter. Mira took a shaky step back. No, I can't. I'm a kitchen staff worker with a high school diploma and a daughter who depends on me. I can't just fly to another country. I'm not. You are, he said firmly. You just don't see it yet. But I do. Mira's heart pounded. Professor Calder, you don't understand. I gave that life up. My husband was sick. We had no health insurance. I used all my savings on hospitals, and when he died, there was no time left for theory. My daughter was 4. I had no one else. Still have her. She's everything, Mira whispered. Asterisk, then let me offer you something for her. Calder leaned across the desk. There's a foundation connected to the symposium. If you qualify, you get a grant. That grant can fund your daughter's education, all of it, including Crestwood's full academic track boarding, tuition, books. Asterisk. Mira froze. Her chest tightened. Asterisk. A full ride? She asked, disbelieving. Asterisk. He nodded. It's real. I've used it before for a former student. He ended up at MIT. Asterisk. She turned away, tears burning in her eyes. Her reflection caught in the tall glass cabinet beside the desk. She looked older than she remembered. Tired, but beneath it, there was someone else, a girl from long ago who loved equations, who could see the world bending behind numbers. That girl had been quiet, but fierce. That girl had almost made it. Asterisk. You think they'll accept me? She said bitterly. A cleaner? A widow? Asterisk. I think they won't care what uniform you wear, Calder said. Once they see what you can do with a pen and a whiteboard. Asterisk. She wiped her eyes. And what about you, Professor? Why do this? Why help me? Asterisk. There was a pause. Calder turned and looked at the fire dying low in the corner hearth. Asterisk. Because I forgot what it means to be surprised, he said, his voice far away. I spent my life dissecting numbers, perfecting lectures, collecting degrees and followers. I built this cathedral of knowledge around me, and then one day, I realized no one ever challenged me anymore. I became comfortable. Asterisk. He turned back to her. Asterisk. Until you solved that problem. And I remembered what it felt like to be humbled. I need to feel that again, because it means I haven't wasted my life. Asterisk. Mira stared at him, stunned. The Titan of Crestwood, intimidating, brilliant, untouchable, had just admitted that her solution meant something to him, that she meant something. Asterisk. You want to use me to reignite your own career? She asked quietly. Asterisk. He didn't flinch. No. I want to stand beside you, as your peer. Asterisk. Silence filled the room again. Asterisk. But what if I can't do it again? She asked, finally. What if I froze back there today, and it all comes crashing down in front of an audience? Asterisk. Then it crashes, he said softly, but at least the world will finally know your name. Asterisk. She bit her lip. You're not afraid I'll embarrass you? Asterisk. Calder gave a tight, rare smile. You're the only person in 20 years who scared me. That's all the proof I need. Asterisk. Mira sat down, hands shaking. She looked again at the Geneva pamphlet. It was printed in 5 languages. The last year's winner was a Ukrainian woman who'd fled her country during the war. Before that, a blind teenager from Morocco. These weren't just mathematicians. They were survivors. Asterisk. Could she belong among them? Asterisk. Could she win? Asterisk. Then she thought of her daughter, a bright-eyed girl named Ria, who once asked, Mama, did you used to do magic with numbers? Mira had laughed and said no. Asterisk. But maybe she was wrong. Asterisk. Maybe it was magic. Asterisk. She looked up. If I say yes, I'll need help, a refresher, access to a lab, quiet time. And Asterisk. Calder raised an eyebrow. And Asterisk. Coffee, she said, suddenly smiling. Asterisk. He chuckled. Actually chuckled Dan for a moment. They were no longer teacher and servant, elite and invisible. They were just 2 minds meeting in a storm. Asterisk. Done, he said. Coffee, whiteboards, quiet hours, and Geneva. Asterisk. A long breath left Mira's lungs. She reached across the desk and took the forms. Asterisk. In that instant, something inside her shifted. Asterisk. No longer forgotten, no longer silent. Asterisk. She had been dismissed, overlooked, underestimated. But now, the fire that once lit up her mind had found oxygen again. Asterisk. She would burn. Asterisk.